Yeah, good morning to everybody. This is a multiple gingival resection case. We have gingival resection on all teeth from 1 to 6. At the level of the 6 we also have a crown to be covered by the soft tissue. In all teeth we have a good amount of keratinized tissue remaining, apical to the gingival resection. So the technique we are going to perform, it's called the coronal advanced flap for multiple gingival resection. Since we have to treat together multiple gingival resection, we don't need any vertical raising incision to be performed, but we will make an envelope type of flap from 6 to 1. In this envelope type of flap, all the papillas, which are called surgical papilla, that I'm going to design and to dissect, will rotate towards the periphery of the flap, which is the central incisors and the molar. So I'm going to place the surgical papilla in such a position in order to predetermine the movement they're going to make during the coronal advancement. In order to make the procedure in the right way, we have to measure the resection in the middle of the flap, which is the canine. The canine has a gingival resection of about 3 millimeters, so we have to replace the same distance starting from the tip of the papilla, namely 3 millimeters from the tip of the papilla, and here make a submarginal incision from the most apical extension of the adjacent gingival resection to the canine, and this incision will be directed toward the canine. The same will be done at the level of the lateral incisor in this way, so the distance from this point to the tip of the papilla is equal to the amount of coronal advancement of the flap. Even in this case, the incision starts from the most apical aspect of the gingival resection of the adjacent tooth towards the canine. Then we are going to measure the lateral, replace the distance from the tip, and make an incision from the central. Then we are going to measure the premolar, replace the same distance, and make an incision from the second premolar, and the same will be done. We get from the premolar towards the canine, just making a bleeding line, and this bleeding line is called incision design. Now we make a second line. This is the second incision. Then we are making a third line, just tracing this line here from the premolar, and finally the last trace incision is from the molar. This is the flap design, a series of submarginal incision starting from the adjacent teeth. Saline, please. Now what you have to do is to get in this incision line with your knife. Last time. Get in this incision line and start to elevate the surgical papilla. Every single surgical papilla must be elevated split thickness. Namely, if you look at the inclination of my knife, it's almost parallel to the soft tissue, and once the entire papilla has been dissected, the buccal keratinized tissue becomes to be mobile due to the presence of the probing pocket there. Now I'm going to do the same thing, split thickness surgical papilla in the second incision line. It's very important, please here, to keep the vertex, the tip of the papilla in the right position. Don't lose the tip of the papilla. Once the tip of this papilla is above your knife. It's possible to go parallel to the soft tissue, parallel to the soft tissue, and elevate the second. 1, 2, surgical papilla. You can see that when I elevate one and the second surgical papilla, there is enough mobility for the keratinized tissue to be elevated even without the need to put the knife inside it. Now we go to the 4. Come here, follow the incision line, open the tip of the papilla. Now the tip is above my. May I have some saline, please? Okay, that's enough. Again, surgical papilla is that area connecting the probable area of the two adjacent gingival recessions. Now we can go to the molar area. Try to preserve this saline as much as I can. Okay. The tip of this papilla too. Very careful in preserving the entire papilla tip in the right position, and once the tip is above my knife, it's possible to elevate split thickness the surgical papilla by giving the papilla, all the surgical papilla, the same thickness. So this is another surgical papilla. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have to follow the line. I have to follow the line until the tip. May I have some sign, please? Until the tip. Until the tip of the papilla is above my knife. You can see now the tip is here, and so I can make an horizontal incision, keeping all the surgical papilla, the same split thickness. 1 and 2. As you can see, once all papillas have been opened, it's now the time to take a small periosteum elevator that can be directly inserted into the probable area, namely in the keratinized tissue apical to the gingival recession, thanks to the movement of this area due to the presence of the probing pocket depth area, and elevate full thickness, take here, and elevate the keratinized tissue remaining apical to the gingival recession, full thickness. And this is done for all teeth included in the flap design. You don't have to force this tissue, but just first of all, reach the bone crest, please suction here, and once the bone crest is reached, you go futurapically for about 2 to 3 millimeters in order to incorporate some periosteum to be comb advanced. The same now is done at the level of the canine. I see the bone crest, and once the bone crest is reached, I elevate it with 2 or 3 millimeters of bone exposure. Now the premolar, 3 millimeters of bone exposure. Now the second premolar, 2 to 3 millimeters of bone exposure, and the same thing is done at the level of the molar until the furcation area, saline please, until the furcation area is also elevated, because we want also to cover the mesial root of the molar, and the central incisor is the last teeth with full thickness flap elevation at the level of the bone crest. Now the problem is in fact how to cone advance the flap, because obviously the flap is absolutely immobile, and the reason why the flap cannot be advanced at this time is because there is a lot of insertion, plis-suction inside it. And it's the muscles of the lip, which are almost perpendicular to the keratinized tissue, which is going to cover the root. If you look at the direction of the lining mucosa with respect to the keratinized tissue, there is an angle. Sonda. This angle is that one where the deep muscles insert into the periosteum, and I cannot overcome it in order to get my flap free from muscles. The first thing I have to do is to eliminate this angle in order to be able to go with my probe and consequently also with my knife parallel to the lining mucosa. So the first incision now we are going to make is a deep, the other knife is deep incision, which is used parallel to the bone, parallel to the bone, parallel to the bone, parallel to the bone, and this is used just to eliminate the muscle insertion in the depth of the periosteum. It's a very small incision, only the tip of the knife is used in this deep incision, but you start to see that sonda, that sulcus which was attached in this area is no more present, and now it's possible for me to go with the probe parallel to the lining mucosa. This was not possible before due to the presence of the deep insertion. Now that the deep insertion has been eliminated, it's time to go with the knife and eliminate the superficial insertions by taking the knife parallel to the lining mucosa, parallel to the lining mucosa, parallel to the lining mucosa, and you can see the movement of your knife through the transparent, very thin lining mucosa, and there must not be any interaction in this movement, and only if there is no interaction in this movement you will be able to coronal advance your flap in a very passive way. In fact, this is enough to allow the coronal advancement of the flap only in the main portion of it. You can see now I am able to cover the canine, I am able to cover the premolar, and I am partly able to cover the lateral. What we have to improve is the movement of the flap in the distal and in the mesial aspect in order to cover also the central and the lateral. So we go to the molar area. We take for a while also the full thickness periosteum elevator. We have some sign in the level of the molar. Thank you very much. So you continue the full thickness flap elevation in order to expose the bone crest at the level of the middle root of the molar. You can see the root of the molar. Now you take the knife again and you make the same things you have done in the main portion of the flap. Namely, first of all, you have to perform a deep thickness incision, and finally you have to perform a very superficial, like this, incision in order to get rid of all muscle, distal and apical to the mesial root of the molar. By this movement, is it possible for the surgical papilla of the mesial to rotate in the distal direction, plis-suction, and cover completely also the mesial root of the molar. At the same time, the premolar is covered, canine, lateral. Now we have to do the same thing for the central incisor. So put it in your. Here you have to be very careful. First of all, full thickness. So periosteum elevator. Thank you. Not now. Okay, full thickness flap elevation of the keratinized tissue apical to the central incisor. You must see the bone crest here, you can see it. And now the blade, may I have the blade, please? You have to do this deep thickness incision parallel to the bone, below the mean frenulum. This is quite difficult. You have to be very careful not to perforate here. You must go further mesial. I'm detaching the deep insertion of the mean frenulum in such a way. And now you can go superficial, please sign. Superficial means removal of all the superficial insertions of the muscles, apical. Now you look if this is enough, take the pincette and try to rotate this papilla in order to cover the central incisor. You see that there is something that doesn't work here. There is like a cleft area in this area, in the central incisor. It means that you have to go to get your papilla free from muscles even without elevating it even more mesial. So please give me the small knife. Deep incision here. Deep incision in order to remove muscles. Now that the deep incision has been done, I'm tunnelizing the interincisor papilla and making the superficial incision. In such a way, you have to see if the surgical papilla starts to please suction, saline please. Very nice. So you can see now that thanks to this movement of the soft tissue, the entire central incisors can be covered with no bend of the soft tissue, and you can also cover it in excess. The same is for the lateral canine premolar. Now the flap is really free, and when you see the flap, you don't see that there is any interruption in the alveolar mucosa, because even during anesthesia I didn't make any perforation with the needle in this area, because this lining mucosa is of crucial importance in the core advancement of our flap with no tension at all. So now I have to complete this area in the most apical aspect, below the mean frenulum here, elevate the interincisor surgical papilla, detach the mean frenulum, and go further apical. You have to pull this, otherwise pull it, otherwise you don't see if you're making perforation of this area. It's very important that you see the entire vestibulum depth in order to remove the frenulum from the inside and make the surgical papilla rotate in a very passive way. So now we are going back to our original position. You can see now you can cover whatever you like. And you have to see the whole flap with no bleeding at all, with a very clean surface, because now it's time to take a gauze. And with the gauze you are going to make some compression of the soft tissue in the most apical part together with your flap, and make the root coverage, the root treatment in a very clean, with absence of bleeding, operative field. Correct. Root planing is performed with mini-5 correct, starting always from the canine, and only that portion of the root may have sign of the root corresponding to gingival recession plus probing pocket depth have to be grinded. If there are areas of bone lesions in the most apical aspect of the root exposure, which was not probable during the surgery, before the surgery, and which was not exposed before the surgery, must not be claimed. In this area, there are cementum with still inserted connective tissue fibers that must be respected in the most apical aspect of the bone area. This will also reduce bone resorption during the healing phase. Root planing must be performed until a very hard, smooth surface has been reached. All the demineralized softened tissue must be removed. Now we go to the lateral. Sometimes we change the goal, so we even improve the control of bleeding at the time of the suturing. Now we have to perform root planing at the level of the lateral. You see that with my fingers I am making compression in the apical direction with the goal and the flap inside in order to reduce as much as possible the bleeding at time of suturing. The mesial half of the lateral has been finished. Now, this section here. Now we are going to make root planing of the distal aspect. Don't section there, just remove the reason why I always use saline during the surgical procedure is not to permit the assistant to suction on my soft tissue and to leave always hydratation of the soft tissue. Now I'm going to, with the gauze, exposing that area of the central incisors that has to be made root planing here, both saline. How is the patient now? Perfect. Perfect. Are quite soft and root, so have to make root planing until a very smooth, hard surface. It sounds hard, okay? Now I'm going to do the mesial aspect of the central incisor. Suction inside sometimes. Inside. Open please. Okay. And make root planing. Lot of saline is necessary, not too much, to maintain the roots clean, at the same time not to accumulate too much smart layer inside the dentin tubuli. Obviously, please suction. Obviously. That's enough. Root planing is a critical aspect of the mucogingival procedure since you are preparing the root for the attachment of the soft tissue. And the quality of the attachment between the soft tissue and the root, which is a combination of the long junctional epithelium and connective tissue attachment, mostly depends on the stability of the blood clot which will form between the lining mucosa of the corneal advanced flap, coronally stabilized at the end of the surgery, and the surface. Now the foot is ready, change the gauze again. Now we go to the 5. and finally to the 6. So I isolate the 5 completely with my fingers and goes. Open a bit. Can you see this? Yes. Come va la ripresa? Perfetto. Si vede un po'.
Falla aprire un po'.
Open a bit.
Sta facendo.
Vai, vai.
Elena sta facendo.
Open a bit. Brava, vai. Sign, 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 sign. That's enough. Even this root was really very, very soft, because maybe this gingival recession has many, many years. Sometimes an indication or not to make root coverage surgery is the depth of the gingival recession. And this is something that I don't approve at all for 2 reasons. Because the main reason for a worsening of gingival recession is not really the depth of the recession, but is the amount of keratinized tissue remaining apical to the gingival recession. And the other very important thing is the demineralization of the root exposure. It's very important to check if you don't want, or if the patient doesn't want to treat gingival recession, how soft and how demineralized is the root, because as much as this root is demineralized, the possibility to obtain an effective root planing is much less. Now we go to the molar, and in order to make you see the root planing of the molar, please keep here. I have to just move for a while the flap, so you can see the root of the molar. Please suction here. Okay. That is exposed. That's enough. This is a demineralized root of an endodontically treated root, so even in this case, the possibility of achieving a good flap adhesion along the fibrine neck of the coagulum, and the dentin fibers included in the dentin tubuli is much less, so we have to refresh with root planing as much as possible this old exposed root surface. Please suction here. Okay. Suction here. Stay here. It's the sound of the root that tells you when the root is ready to finish the root planing procedure. Okay, now the flap is ready. If you look at it in this aspect, you can see that all the root now are quite white. Instead of being yellow, it means that the demineralized portion of it has been removed. Now it's time to prepare the anatomic papilla to welcome the surgical papilla. This portion, this part of the surgery is called desepitalization of the papilla. Again, we take a gauze, we go on the back of our patient, we isolate with the gauze and with your finger, the lip. Please come here. You see that I know where. Please suction here. Suction here. Thank you very much. I just have to remove the epithelium from here. So open a bit. Open a bit. once the epithelium suction here, you have to wait here with your suction until the epithelium that is being detached from the connective tissue will be partly, you can see the epithelium, the connective tissue that is left in the papilla. And now it's time to get with the microsurgical blade to complete, along with this incision, the papilla desepithelialization until the tip. And when the tip is desepithelialized, the epithelium is suctioned. Now we do the same thing for the other papilla. Very carefully, only the epithelium is elevated. Now it's turning over due to the presence of the suction here. Please, suction. May I have some saline too here? May I have another one?
Another one?
And then the epithelium is completely removed. When you have a very small papilla, you can do almost everything with your microsurgical blade, namely take the epithelium and only epithelium will be removed after the tip. You don't have to lose papilla, but just to desepithelize the tip of it. I follow the first incision sign. This epithelium now is ready to be removed with a small scissor by following the same line, this section. Okay, it's even too easy. It's more difficult to explain than to do it. This section. Follow the incision line. Now the epithelium is detached, so it's possible to follow the same incision line and complete desepithelialization. Now we come back to the entire flap and see that all the, please sign, close a bit, please wash here. I don't want to see any area of bleeding in the flap. I hate bleeding. Okay, that's enough. You can see that now the flap is ready to be anchored in the most coronal position. By suturing our flap to our surgical papilla, which were elevated split thickness to the corresponding anatomic papillae, which were desepithelialized. You see that every surgical papilla has a triangular shape like the anatomic papilla, and once this surgical papilla will be placed above the anatomic papilla, the coronal advanced flap will cover the crown of the tooth. The first area to be sutured is that one of the molar, and this is used, please come here, and this is used to give stability of the keratinized tissue above the molar, mesial root and the premolar. We use thin suturing. It's a 7-0 suture with 11 millimeter long needle, otherwise we cannot reach the palatal aspect. And you give it to me when I finish. Okay, now please suction here. You see that I take my needle in the mean portion of the surgical papilla I use a needle to, in such a way, advance the papilla suction here in the right position, and at the same time make a perforation of the surgical and anatomic papilla so that I can get to the palatal aspect. Sometimes when you have crown, please may I have some sign from the other side.
I have your head in the microphone.
Yeah, I know this is the area in which it's more difficult to follow, just to show you that this suture must perforate together, right? Surgical and anatomic papilla reach the palatal aspect, open a bit, the suture material is turned around the palatal cingulum and is brought back, open please, below the contact point without perforating at all from the palatal aspect. The papilla in the buccal aspect, please keep here. Now you take the papilla in position, morbido, in position, and when the papilla is in the right position, you perforate surgical and anatomic papilla between the two premolar and go back in the palatal aspect. Take the needle again from the palatal aspect around the palatal cingulum of the second premolar. There's no contact point here. And before closing this knot, this is called sling suture, you have to pull it. Please look at there. I have to check that the surgical papilla fills and fits completely the interdental space, and this is the time to close the first papilla above the surgical papilla in order to cover completely the medial root of the molar. You can see that the medial root of the molar together with the premolar are completely covered by my coronal advanced flap, and both the surgical papilla fit the anatomic papilla. Now I remove the remaining sutures. So please sign here. You don't have to see any blood flap escaping from the root, and the flap must be completely fitting above the convexity of the crown, both the premolar and both the molar. Now it's time to go to the central incisor area, where the surgical papilla comprised between the central and the lateral incisor will be anchored to the interincisor papilla that has not been elevated, and so it's very, very stable to be coronal advanced. So you have to keep your flap free. You position your surgical papilla in the right position here, and main base of the papilla, surgical papilla. Again, you below the contact point between the two central incisors, you anchor to the interincisor papilla that has not been absolutely elevated, so it's an important anchorage in the coronal direction. Again, below the contact point between the central and the lateral incisors without perforating. So perforation is only made when you go from the buccal to the palatal aspect and never from the palatal to the buccal aspect. And now you make this papilla rotated in order to achieve, right, the complete coverage of the surgical papilla above the anatomic papilla, and at the same time complete cover the central incisor. Obviously, coverage must be performed in excess in order to guarantee an optimal fit adaptation between the keratinized tissue and the convexity of the root. of the crown, sorry. Now you can see that with only two suturing, the flap is already stable also at the level of the canine, where we have the greater coronal advancement of the flap and so the greater tension in terms of muscles in this area. So thanks to this multiple flap, every single surgical papilla helps the other one to be placed in the right position with no tension. So now we are going to make the last suturing. So 3 sutures to cover 6 gingival resection. Again, surgical papilla, perforation of the anatomic papilla at the level of the canine. Now goes back, open a bit, below the contact point between the canine and the first premolar. You should check that the suture remain below the palatal cingulum. Again, surgical base, anatomic papilla, perforation towards the palatal aspect. Take the needle again from the palatal aspect. Comes back in the original position. And before closing, you have to check for the good adaptation of the surgical papilla above the anatomic papilla, where you don't have the knot here, like this area. It's completely out. Okay. Drew, close.
Down.
Okay. And now before closing this, okay, now it fits, right? I'm going to close the last one. In order to optimize adaptation of the surgical papilla above the anatomic papilla. And the most important thing is to obtain really a marginal fit between the keratinized tissue of the flap with the convexity of the clinical crown. Now I will tell you what does it mean. So we go back to the position. Okay, you will see that all keratinized tissue now, close it, okay, is placed above. I don't want to see the tongue. I hate the tongue. Now it's perfect. And you see that there is some ischemia between the keratinized tissue covering the single crown and the crown itself. What does this mean? It means that between the lining mucosa and the concavity of the root, which was created during root planing, there is space for the blood clot to form. Now I want to show you the clusal aspect. Okay, you see that there is no space for the blood clot because there is a real tight adaptation between the keratinized tissue and the convexity of the clinical crown on all teeth. Open a bit. Open. Of all teeth, sign here, included in the flap. So since there is no possibility for the blood clot to escape, it means that it will just a bit down, it will form between the alveolar mucosa, which has been detached from the depth, and the concavity of the root, which has been planed. This blood clot, just a bit down, this blood clot will form new connective tissue, and new gingival thickness, and increasing gingival keratinized tissue, as I will show you in my presentation just after the lap surgery. You see that everything is stable. Even if I move the lip, the marginal tissue stay there. The marginal tissue, the marginal keratinized tissue does not move, and this is because I completely separate my alveolar mucosa from the depth, that is the periosteum, and from the superficial aspect, that is muscles. When you move the alveolar mucosa, the keratinized tissue above the convexity of the crown must not move. This means give stability to your coronal advanced flap and render the healing of the coronal advanced flap independent of the patient movement with the lip. Okay, I think that is enough because the patient now is a bit tired, and I think that we'll have some time for the discussion, but maybe it's better if I come there, I think.
Yes.
I go there?
Definitely.
Okay, thank you very much.